Hey guys, so today we have a mini tea where we go over a few things happening on the internet right now, just in case you're new to this concept, social media, second channel description, and any other links that you might want to find, if I don't forget to put them there, because that is a big... that is a thing that my brain just can't seem to comprehend. It's put links in description. There are a few things that I was going to speak about sooner, but because I didn't have enough stories, I essentially just didn't talk about them. So I'm going to talk about them now. Jeffree Star filmed a video where essentially most of it was him just touring around his house as if anyone's interested. Is anyone interested? Are you guys interested? No? Okay. But he spends the first 5 minutes going over kind of the stuff with his like ex-boyfriend, the fake account, fake real allegations, whatever it is. And he essentially is just like, oh, I'm going to be suing everyone. Any news outlets that said it was true and that account actually belonged to my ex-boyfriend, you're going to get sued. And I was like, that's... How many times have we heard that from Jeffree Star? How many times is he going to bang on about suing people and getting his lawyers on people? It's like, isn't it a bit tiring now? Isn't it? Aren't you tired? Like, of course, if someone's actually defaming you, sure. But there was a account that looked like your ex-boyfriend talking about you in a manner that clearly seemed believable, and people believed it. Of course, you know, people need to make corrections, but at the end of the day, we don't actually know for sure if that account was fake or not, because what they're doing behind the scenes and what kind of he is pursuing with the lawyers, none of that means that this wasn't actually his ex-boyfriend's backup account. All it means is he is telling us that that wasn't his ex-boyfriend's account. But I mean, Jeffree Star isn't known for being the most honest guy, so it could be his ex-boyfriend's account. It could also not be his ex-boyfriend's account. At this point, I'm just kind of like, look, I'll take it all. Like, if it comes out that that was actually his ex-boyfriend, I won't even be surprised. So that's that. But essentially, he's just like, I'm going to sue everyone. And on that same kind of sphere, last time I spoke about Jeffree Star, I told you guys to read up an insider article by Kat. I've spoken to Kat before. She's interviewed me before. She's amazing at what she does. And she wrote another article. This time I can kind of read it out, but, you know, still have to kind of censor myself. So the insider article is leaked Jeffree Star messages show he deleted more than 400 crude tweets as he accused rival YouTuber James Charles of being something. Someone sent him DMs saying, it was like a fan saying, delete this one as soon as you see this message. And he goes, just waking up, oh boy, lol, deleting now. And then it's just like a bunch of like twitter.com/ and it's like a tweet. So it's just like a bunch of them. A fan helped makeup mogul Jeffree Star find and delete more than 400 old crude tweets. Direct messages show. That was a bad way to read that sentence out. Let's try again. A fan helped makeup mogul Jeffree Star find and delete more than 400 old crude tweets. Direct messages show. Star deleted the tweets, some which joked about something, and separately having sex with straight men, starting one day after accusing YouTuber James Charles of being a predator, which essentially is like Jeffree Star accused him of stuff that he publicly spoke about also doing. But the fact that no one caught that, and like none of us caught that back then. It's just stupidity, you know? Stupidity from all of us. In exchange for the fans' assistance, the messages show Star promised but later rescinded tickets to one of his masterclass events. Star and his assistant didn't respond to insider requests for comment. Are we surprised? This is like a reoccurring issue. So it talks about all of the deleting of tweets and how essentially the stuff that he was... If you see the light flickering, right, essentially what's happening is when I turn on the main light, the bulb I think is kind of going a bit crazy and it goes on and off. No, my house is not haunted. I'm sick and tired of people saying my house is haunted. God, leave me alone. Sometimes people see a speck of dust and my ring light reflecting on the particle of dust and they're like, oh, there is an... See? It just turned on. An orb. There is an orb. Your house is haunted. Or they see like sunlight reflecting off of cars driving in front of my house and that also reflects on my walls. And then this light is actually one of those bulbs that you connect to your phone, but I'm assuming maybe something to do with the battery or something is going crazy, so it's switching on and off, but we'll ignore that. I'm just making sure no one leaves me comments saying my house is haunted again. She goes on to talk about obviously all of the tweets. He inserted himself into the drama. So he called him a predator while also having a lot on his Twitter account. And then he essentially just went and deleted a bunch of those tweets, but obviously people kept screenshots of some of them. So then what happens is the person was offered by Jeffree Star to go to his masterclass because actually they were going to buy a ticket. And in the first message they said, when are the tickets going live or something along those lines. And then Jeffree was basically just like, I'm sending you VIP tickets. And VIP tickets include the goodie bag of Jeffree Star products. That is like, so you get like VIP treatment at the masterclass and then you get free products. Now, all of that is happening. They're asking, oh, when am I going to get the confirmation? They're like, oh, don't worry, you're not going to get the confirmation because you're getting like a different set of tickets. And so then in the emails, the person asks Jeffree's assistant if they're also going to get the goodie bag. And the assistant said no. And then Jeffree essentially just said, like, you're not going to the masterclass anymore. After they helped to delete 400 tweets off your account that make you look worse than what you painted James Charles to be. Pathetic. See, the fact is, I've spoken about this before, where Jeffree Star literally just does not respect or appreciate his fans whatsoever. Like, there are situations where I've spoken about this on my channel where his fans would bring up issues with like products, saying, hey, like my eyeshadow palette came smashed or something, and he'd be like, you are scum of the earth. How dare you talk to me like that about my makeup palettes? So yeah, I just don't think he respects his fans at all. And the fact that he's managed to make this career out of nothing, you know, he wouldn't be where he is now if it wasn't for YouTube. And the fact that all of that makes him be this mean to his fans is kind of shocking. And then the person obviously got blocked in true Jeffree fashion. And the last message from Jeffree Star to the fan is actually, you deleted a few hundred tweets for me and you're acting like I'm supposed to give you $1,000 worth of free makeup. And all I promised was a ticket and to come say hi. Really sad. Oh, he's so mean. The next piece of Jeffree Star tea is that he has now released lipsticks, and this is the promo picture. And if you don't know why this is relevant, he actually has called now 2 black women in his past rats in these tweets. So at Makeup Shayla, PS, please learn correct grammar if you're even going to try to respond to someone with a college education. At Makeup Shayla, you're deceased, so go flip your hair all day long, broke rat. And then Sanders Kennedy said, I don't know why Jackie Aina is making it a thing because she got blocked by Jeffree Star when she had Petty Page video taken down, trying to understand. And then Jeffree Star responded and said, at Here for the Tea, I blocked that irrelevant rat months ago, way before her anti-haul. As much as rat in itself, you know, is a separate issue, like calling a woman a rat is probably not the best thing to do, but the fact that it's 2 black women that he called rats, it kind of gives it a racial undertone. And now he used a black model to pose in a mouse/rat trap, and people are wondering if this is like anyone subconsciously, like this isn't like he on purpose was just like, oh, I called 2 black women rats, so let me use that for advertising my makeup. But could it be that subconsciously he thinks of black women as rats, so when he picked out a model to be in the rat trap, he automatically went to the black model, right? So people are just like, is this his like subconscious coming out to the daylight? And we're seeing it. We've been seeing it for a while. But yeah, it's just kind of shocking that that is the picture he decided to take. Some people don't see an issue with this, some people do. Let me know what you guys think. I recently spoke about Nikita Dragun and her constant blackfishing, and then the tweet where she was like, oh, what race is Nikita going to be today? And then people posted the Jeffree Star campaign that she did, where she looked much darker than she is. And she actually posted then the original picture, which was her looking way lighter than in that campaign. And she said, I was hired as a model. I didn't have any control over editing. I showed up, did my job and left. This was a photo from that same day, which is kind of shading Jeffree Star because Jeffree Star probably signed off on the final campaign picture, which means he signed off on the editing of that picture. And actually, Jaclyn Hill liked that tweet from Nikita Dragun. Sometimes a like speaks 1,000 words. Next, I was sent an account called Problematic Fame, and it says Kylie Skin lied about being vegan and cruelty-free. So obviously it shows all the proof that Kylie said that Kylie Skin was vegan and cruelty-free. And here is a definition of vegan, which is a person who does not eat or use animal products, like any animal products. In the animal rights movement, cruelty-free is a label for products or activities that do not harm or kill animals anywhere in the world. And then in the toner, one of the ingredients is, hydroxyacetophenone. That's definitely not how you pronounce that, but we're going to go with it, which they're saying is a chemical compound of castoreum. So it's the exudate from the castor sacs of the mature beaver. Wow. We're really learning here, we're educating ourselves. So castoreum comes from the beaver's castor sac, located between the pelvis and the base of the tail. Because of its close proximity to the anal glands, the substance often contains anal secretions and urine. The compound is non-toxic. So it's essentially saying that it is an animal product or an animal byproduct. And it's kind of like when people say cruelty-free mink lashes, those don't exist. Apparently minks are very aggressive towards humans. So to get mink hair from minks would require putting a lot of stress on them to get that from them. So therefore it can't be cruelty free. And same kind of thing here where it is an animal byproduct, so it can't be vegan, right? And then it's probably not the most comfortable thing to get those secretions from beavers. So it's probably not cruelty free. So people are wondering if this means that Kylie Skin is in fact not cruelty-free or vegan. But where do you stand on this? Because actually, vegan has a legal definition, but cruelty-free doesn't. Cruelty-free can mean whatever you want it to mean. So a brand can put cruelty-free on their products and test on animals, and that will not be a legal issue. But vegan is a huge thing. But I'm not vegan, so I'm actually not sure what the classification is. Is this not vegan or is this still vegan? It's kind of like the argument of Carmine in pallets. It's from beetles, crushed up beetles, and people consider that not vegan, but then some people say that they don't mind it even though they are vegan. So I guess it's what is your comfort level, and should Kylie Skin then have to say that that product isn't vegan or cruelty free? The next piece of tea is I went to my sub box one morning, and I'm subscribed to Kathleen Knights. Why did I say that so wrong? Kathleen Knights. And I saw this thing that said September favorites 2020, and that seems like a very non-problematic title. I'm not calling Kathleen problematic, by the way. I'm just saying, I'm just using that word. I feel like that word has taken a life of its own. And she is wearing a hoodie that I seem to be recognizing, and the shades as well I seem to be recognizing. And I click on the video, and I'm correct, she's wearing a Teddy Fresh hoodie, which in itself is kind of shade because it came this was posted on the 10th of October, so this came right after the Teddy Fresh Sisters Apparel debacle, right? And in the comments section, we have Kendall Ray, a true crime YouTuber, also Kathleen Light's very close friend, saying, that Teddy Fresh sweatshirt looks so good on you and it's so original too. And then here are the comments as follows. I'm glad to see you wearing a Teddy Fresh sweater and not the sisters one, because yikes on that drama. I clicked so fast just to see if it was Teddy Fresh or James Charles merch, when you have to ask, is this Teddy Fresh or James Charles merch, looking at the thumbnail. Dude, I love YouTubers that support the original creator, if you know what I meant. Yes, rock that Teddy Fresh. Love the Teddy Fresh. Loving seeing people support the brand, considering how original and unique their stuff is, and considering Sisters Apparel ripped off their hoodie, which is pretty gross. At least James Charles admitted that's a step in the right direction. Everybody should show Teddy Fresh some love. They're honestly unlike anything else. There are some mixed reactions to do with Teddy Fresh, because people are obviously saying that Teddy Fresh is the original idea and Sisters Apparel is the copy, but people are also not willing to support Teddy Fresh because of Ethan Klein and how problematic of a past he has. Actually, I didn't really know what he did for a while because I never watched his videos or I never listened to their podcast, but I know there are videos going over some of the stuff he has done, including his liberal use of the N-word as comedic effect when he's surrounded by other YouTubers who use edgy humor. His allegedly sexist views, I'm not sure on that. Like I said, I don't know anything pretty much, so this is something that you might have to research yourself. If you were thinking of supporting Teddy Fresh, this might be something that you might want to look into before you put money into Gila's pocket, but at the same time Ethan's pocket, because I'm assuming because they're married they probably share some finances, so whatever goes into her pocket goes into his. I've seen some clips of him. It's not looking great, so it's probably not something I want to support. I did want to buy Teddy Fresh hoodie, but now I'm just considering it, and probably not where I want my money to go, So next. We recently spoke about, not recently, but 3-4 months ago. That seems recent, to be fair, because it's been a while. This has been a hell of a year. There was a podcast called Call Her Daddy with Alex and Sofia. Yeah, they had one of the biggest podcasts in the world. It was in the top 10 for America and the world. They were making a bunch of money. Well, the podcast was making a bunch of money. They allegedly weren't, according to what they should be making. So Alex and Sofia go to renegotiating a deal. They both want more money because everyone's telling them that they're being heavily undervalued. They ended up in their first year making about $500,000 each, but that's not because of the salary. Their salary was $70,000 for the first year. Everything else was just kind of royalties and commissions. They thought they should be making more, and now Sofia has actually put out there that the podcast makes, on the low end, 10 million a year. So for them to make 1 million together and a 70,000 salary is probably kind of undervaluing. Most podcast hosts get to keep, according to Sofia, about 80% of the money that the podcast makes. So they should be making 8 million together, so 4 million each per year on the low end, which means they could be making up to, 10 million each, but they're making 500k. So obviously it makes sense for them to negotiate, but we didn't have any of that information when all of that came out, so we kind of couldn't make a good judgment. Now, Alex became the single father. She is running the podcast on her own because Sofia decided to not take the deal that they were offering them, and Alex ended up taking the deal, and everyone's kind of on Alex's side. They're all, shading Sofia publicly. Even if they're not saying her name, the shade's there. We can see it. I never listened to the podcast, and I didn't start listening to it now. I think I listened to just the podcast episodes relating to this situation, but nothing else. Sofia has now started her own podcast called Sofia with an F, and she's going to be essentially just talking about, life. I listened to the first podcast. It's not clear what she's going to be doing because she's kind of unsure herself. But in the first half of the podcast episode, she goes over stuff like the fact that Alex is kind of ruthless with how she goes about making money to the point where she sacrifices friendships for a few extra grand a year. The fact that they should have been making more money and everyone mocked them essentially behind the scenes, because everyone, including employees of Barstool Sports, knew that they should be making more money because, like I said, 80% of the podcast should be going to the podcast host. She left not because of Suitman, who was her boyfriend, and at the time everyone thought that she left because he was like telling her stuff that probably wasn't true, but now she said that it's actually kind of anti-feminist to say that the only reason she left was because a man told her to do so. She said she left because she felt undervalued. She felt like she wasn't respected by anyone there. She also mentioned how Alex on multiple occasions has now tried to go behind her back to make more money. And the fact that Alex made it sound like Sofia wasn't putting in the work because she was editing the videos was also apparently a lie. Because as much as Alex was editing the podcast, apparently Sofia actually came up with her own jokes for the podcast, her own like script, whereas Sofia would have ghostwriters. So her whole personality, allegedly, for the whole podcast is ghostwritten by other people. So which is why she couldn't do any live shows or anything live, because as much as Sofia felt comfortable with her personality to make jokes on the spot, Alex needed a ghostwriter to write stuff for her. So she's like, as much as you do the editing is something anyone can learn to do. I have the jokes, the humor, the personality, and that is something that you can't learn, which she considers more valuable than a learnt job. There we go, like a learnt activity. So that's kind of the situation now. Sofia had a few sponsors. She had HelloFresh, she had Function of Beauty, she had like I think she had another one, I don't know. She had a few sponsors on that first episode, and I'm wondering where that's going to go. Like, is that going to be more successful than Call Her Daddy? Is it going to be on the same sphere? Or is Call Her Daddy always going to be more successful because of the IP, the Call Her Daddy thing, you know? That's kind of where that's going. She kind of exposed people, and now I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know who's at fault here. Is Alex at fault? Is everything that Sofia's saying about Alex true? The fact that Alex is money hungry and that she sacrifices friendships for some money? Did Sofia put in work or did she not? I don't know. It's confusing, but that's the first episode. I guess we're going to find out more. I think this is going to like re-spark the beef, because Barstool Sports has a tendency of sending their fans at people through kind of like making jokes about people, and then that kind of makes people feel like it's okay to go and bully that person, which Sofia has mentioned. She has mentioned that she's been bullied by Barstool and by their fans, and that Alex actually knew about Sofia's deteriorating mental health and still decided to shade her every occasion that she had and send fans her way. Considering they were best friends, I don't know how you can do that. I don't know if I would feel comfortable doing that about a best friend because of some kind of a falling out. Mainly knowing that they were going through mental health issues. And then she stops talking about that and she goes into the actual podcast episode where she talks about, you know, being a woman and being a woman in her late 20s and what that means and the pressures. And I think, you know, it was actually very entertaining to listen to. I think she's got a very easy personality to listen to. She's very like chill and funny, and I don't know, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know who I believe at this point. I feel like that's the case with most beef. It's like, who do you trust? Who's saying the truth? Is there the truth? You know, is it that person's truth or this person's truth, or is it just like a mixture of both? I don't know. But I want to know what Alex now responds with and what Barstool Sports responds with, because this was some good stuff. This was some good stuff from Sofia. The next piece of tea is Carrigan has now been accused of scamming his fans. So on Instagram, he's doing that thing that Jeffree Star's ex-boyfriend was doing, which is getting people to pay him for a shout out on his Instagram stories. And it was supposed to be $100 per shout out. And there was messages, DMs between him and a fan basically sent him the money, and he sent the money back and said, can you, instead of sending it to me in like a business way, like, you know, when you pick categories, can you send it to me as family and friends? And people are saying that is actually a scam, because allegedly if you send stuff through the family and friends category, you don't pay tax on that, because that is money that you're just like, oh, like your friends owe you some money for like lunch or something. You shouldn't have to pay tax on that. So people are wondering if he's doing this to evade taxes. That is obviously a big allegation to make, and the IRS could be on the lookout because of those allegations. But it seems a bit sus that this is clearly a business transaction, but he's telling people to not put it under business transactions, instead of putting it under family and friends, which is the tax-free category. You know, it's a bit weird. And some people didn't have their like orders fulfilled, like they paid the 100 and they still to this day, I don't know how long he's been doing this for, but they still haven't received their shout out, which should be like a very easy thing to do. Like if you have 10 orders, putting 10 like Instagram stories up, it's really not something that should take too long. And if someone paid you should probably do it as soon as possible. I'm going to see where that kind of goes further, because I just want to see if people are actually getting scammed or not, and if he's trying to evade taxes or not. That's what I want to see. The next thing that happened is recently Bon Appetit was called out during Black Lives Matter protests. People were calling out Bon Appetit for some racially insensitive things that they have done in the past, or some of the employees have done in the past, aka like a cake with a Confederate flag, that kind of a thing, you know. It's also poor treatment of minorities, being underpaid, being undervalued, not being treated like the white employees. There was just a lot coming out about Bon Appetit, and it just was not looking good. And apparently a few people have now been let go. A few people left. I believe Sola left, and she's now freelancing, but she's also writing for Bon Appetit, but she's not doing videos for Bon Appetit anymore. And now they've posted a video saying why we joined Bon Appetit. And it's 3 people from minority backgrounds who have now joined Bon Appetit, and they're, you know, executives, and they're taking up higher positions. But I remember an employee of Bon Appetit said that even though they were employing more minority groups, they were still underpaying them. So are these people also being underpaid? I don't know. But it is not white people in this video, which I guess is good. But then if you think about it, like with everything they have done, is this progress or is this just performative activism? It seems like a Jeffree Star move, and all the comments are saying that the like to dislike on this video is absolutely awful. And I kind of feel bad for these 3 people because they clearly don't deserve the hate on this video. And I'm glad that they got employed. Like, I'm glad that they're being given the opportunity to work at a big publication. However, why are they being given this opportunity? Because I feel like they're being used as token minority groups, because it's just like they didn't feel the need to employ more people from minority backgrounds before, and now that they've been called out, now is the time to do that. But they've been called out for underpaying people even after they've been called out. So like, are these people being underpaid? Anyway, the comments section is basically just people saying, this looks like Jeffree Star. This looks like when Jeffree Star was being called out for a bunch of things. He then filmed videos about like a new boyfriend, and the boyfriend was black. Or he would use a black model. As soon as he got called out, he would put like a black person or a person from some kind of a minority group into his videos to basically just be like, I'm not what you say I am. It's like, you are. And the same thing is happening with Bon Appetit, where now out of nowhere, people from minority backgrounds higher up. But where were they before? They weren't in the higher up areas, because if they were, none of these issues would have happened, because there would have been someone there higher up saying this is not okay. But because it was just white people higher up, there was no one to say, hey, this is not okay. Oh my god. Yeah, so this video is not doing well. Like to dislike wise. They've started reposting again, because I was subscribed to Bon Appetit and then I just didn't unsubscribe because they stopped popping up into my sub box. So you kind of forget to unsubscribe to people. And I'm assuming they stopped posting because of the controversies. And now they're posting again after posting this video, and the views aren't great. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, the views aren't great. And is this gonna be like the start to the end? Because it's kind of crazy that such a big publication is essentially just being cancelled, because usually big companies get away with so much stuff, and it seems like they're actually being held accountable because people are not happy with this. So that is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, and subscribe because I post videos every time something happens. Say that bell, you'll be notified when that's happening. Social media links, second channel, affiliate links, any other links in description, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.